How is suicide not a part of destiny?
There is no point me answering this question because it would make no difference whatsoever whether or not I answer.
No, I don't believe that is
So then the question is
but
answered. Destiny is trash. Why am I assaulting my throat? होगा वही जो लिखा है.
if I'm going to my grandmother and I'm talking to her about destiny, no, everything is written. There's nothing that is going to happen, with your will.
You can forcefully bring the fish out of the sea, but you cannot forcefully make it live. It says, yes, you can pull me out of the water, but then I decide not to live.
Basically, you're saying that it's all right.
No, I'm not saying all right. No.
Sir, if one day we are going to die, then what's the point of living?
Because you are still not dead. Ask this question once you are dead. Can you? So that's the beauty of living. Even death is to the living one.
Hello, sir. My name is Tanu. I love this quote which you have written in your new book. So, if your work is not lovable, life won't be livable. So, my question is, if I don't find happiness or excitement in whatever I do, so it is maturity or some kind of mental illness. Some people say it is because I am becoming mature, and some others say it is because I am mentally ill. So what do you think?
It is mostly ignorance usually. See, no work can bring you joy or bliss or happiness. No. Work is a product. It's a choice. You don't just randomly plunge yourself in work. Work is chosen, is it not? You have chosen to be on the stage. You have chosen to be in this institution. You choose to accept a job offer. Right? It's a choice. Sometimes you create your own work because nobody is offering it to you. So you create it for yourself. It's a choice. It's creativity. You must have it within you to make the right choice. Otherwise, how do people choose their work? How did India choose its work since centuries? Your father is a barber, so you are a... Where is the choice? Is any self-awareness needed? You are born a girl, so you will be a housewife. That's your work. Is any self-awareness needed? Born a girl, how will you be an astronaut? Or a swimmer? She? Ugly. There is no self-awareness that is needed. Or I am in this campus. Everybody is running towards the placement office. That particular company with the fattest pay package. That's how work is chosen. What self-awareness? What self-awareness? My pa is a dentist, my ma is a dentist. I already have a clinic, I'll be a dentist. They got me admitted into the MDS course by paying a fat donation. What choice of work is there? My mother is an actor. My father is a director producer. So I'll be the actor kid. What choice of work is there? My entire family is of politicians. So I'll do politics. What choice is there? When work arises as an expression of your deepest clarity, only then can there be love. For most of us, work is a random accident. It happened. You suddenly find yourself, you are in the body of a woman. Because you are in the body of a woman, so certain professions are ruled out. Now there is no clarity. There is the body. Or you belong to a religion or a caste or a place or a country. Therefore, the choice stands sealed. What choice is there then? You know what work really is in the deepest sense? That which challenges your weaknesses. That is the purpose of work. But for most of us, work is livelihood. I go there, spend my time, get a salary check. That is work. No, that is not work. That is livelihood. Real work is when you know who really are. I know who I am. I am the suffering ego. I am the conditioned self. Therefore, I need to take up something that challenges my bondages and can raise me to the highest position of freedom and fearlessness. That is real work. Are you getting it? But for most of us, it is not life, just livelihood. Just livelihood. And that's why we say, let there be a distinction between personal and professional life. What personal, professional life? Work is life. Most of the time you are working. But you will know, no, I work only 4 hours a day. So, any action that you do is work. Does it not consume calories? How is it not work then? Does it not require your discretion and intelligence? How is it not work then? You say, no, but I am not being paid for it, so it is not work. Oh. You are randomly taking a stroll. How is it not work? Explain. You are sitting here. Is it not work? Or you will say, no. We are students, we don't work. How is this not work? You are watching a movie. How is that not work? Every single action is work. And every single action must come from a point of deep clarity. But we are so obsessed with money that work gets reduced to just something you are paid for, livelihood. Otherwise, we don't believe it to be work. This is work. That does not mean only this is work. You start sipping the entire day. You just laughed, right? That's work. That's work. Karma, gati, prakriti, work. And physics would say, not just philosophy, even physics would say, force multiplied by displacement in the direction of force, that is work. You're burning calories, that is work. Everything is work. If everything is work, why do you want to act foolishly in any moment of life? Are you getting it? Our concept of life, livelihood, action, work, and choice, it stands totally distorted. Therefore, we say certain things, they are done for the sake of tradition. So I have a family. Then a certain thing you do for the sake of running that family, that you call as work. Huh? After 6 p.m. what you have is the action that arises from tradition, right? You have a husband or a wife and you have kids. Where is that action coming from? Tradition. Though even that is work. All these rounds you took round the fire, how are they not work? Even that is work. But that work gets done blindly in the name of tradition. And then now because you have a wife or a husband or kids to take care of, then you say, I must do some other work to take care of them. So there is a distinction, a line gets drawn at 6 p.m. Before 6 p.m., it is work. After 6 p.m., it is family time. No. Every single action is life. And all of it must come from a single point of clarity. Let there be no distinction between the personal and the professional. You cannot live with two centers. A man cannot have two masters. Getting it? Do not let your choice of work be dictated by social norms or established channels. Well, no, I'm going in the commerce stream. Don't go to any stream. All these are pre-established channels. And you have the entire sky to fly. Don't limit yourself to these narrow roads. And don't worry too much about livelihood. If you are doing something that is very, very good for you, the rule is it will be good for others as well. You will have some money. You will not have billions, but you will have some money enough to eke out a living. What's more, you will have love. And when there is love, you don't need too much money.
I'm Kanak, and my question for this, it's not related to anybody, but my question is that it is related to destiny. When we say that everything is destined or सब कुछ लिखा हुआ होता है, so how is suicide not a part of destiny? How do we consider suicide as a sin? And is destiny the universal truth, or it is just people are made to believe in destiny just to keep them within
This
the
should have been the
boundaries?
first part of the question. What is destiny? Is there any truth in it? That should have been the first part. And then you say, if destiny holds some truth, then how is suicide a crime? That's how you structure the question. What do you think of destiny?
At least as of how we are told about destiny, everything is written even before you're born. You are here, everything that happens in your life, the events that happen in your lives, they are all written. They are going to happen.
Then there is no point me answering this question, because it would make no difference whatsoever whether or not I answer.
No, I don't believe that is.
So then the question is answered. Destiny is trash. Because if destiny means there is nothing called free will, not even as a possibility, not even as a remote possibility, if there is nothing called free will, then there is no point exerting ourselves in this discussion, because nothing would change anyway. Everything is pre-written. Why am I assaulting my throat? होगा वही जो लिखा है.
But then why can't we as humans, why can't we change destiny? Like if for example, if I'm going to my grandmother and I'm talking to her about destiny, she's going to be like, no, everything is written. There's nothing that is going to happen, with your will. But for me, it is like, why can't I change it? If there is something.
You understand inertia? Inertia is a basic concept in physics. Inertia means a thing will continue to be in its state if an external force is not applied. Something is rolling, it will keep rolling. Something is stationary, will remain stationary. That's physics, and we are physical, so we are lazy. If something sits here, it will keep sitting because we are lazy. That's called inner inertia. So it's all messy around you, and it will continue to be messy because you are simply lazy. And you are a status quoist. And you know that change requires effort. You know change requires boldness. So you'll continue to let things rot as they are. But how to justify this inaction? You say, anyway, nothing is going to happen. What is written is written. So what is the point of acting? So let me just sleep and rot. So all this concept of destiny is a dirty trick to justify your laziness and cowardice. Because when you set out to change, you expose yourself to harm, don't you? You expose yourself to harm. And when you set out to clean, you expose yourself to the filth, don't you? So we don't want to change anything. We don't want to own agency. We want to rather believe there is an all-powerful agency out there somewhere, and he is pulling all the strings. And that we call as devotion, that we call as religiosity, whereas it is sheer cunningness. because you don't want to take ownership, because you don't want to tolerate pain, because you are just a little petty coward. So you say, what is the point? It was in the stars. It was in the stars. There's nothing called destiny. However, there is something called randomness. Universe, as it affects you, is a random place. It has its own laws, but the way it affects you is a very random thing. You will never know the real causal chain behind anything that is happening on the outside. This tile can fall on your head this moment, right? That's not destiny, that's randomness. That's randomness of the physical world. Even as we all sit here, if each single one of us gets herself tested, some unknown disease might be revealed. And you didn't know and you're living with it. That's not destiny, that's randomness. It's there in your genes. The air is dirty, the water is dirty, and you might be aging or you ate something bad and you're now diseased and you don't even know it. All this is randomness. Even birth is a random occurrence, right? Forget death. Even birth is so random. Nobody decides to be born. You are randomly born. And you decide, where have I come? Right? So there is randomness. And that randomness you cannot control. But that randomness is not destiny. You have the agency to respond rightly to that randomness. Yes, you cannot control what is happening on the outside, but you can always control your response to it. Always. You always have a choice. And if you don't have a choice, you are dead. No point living. You always have a choice in responding to external random events. Outside, even after your utmost effort, randomness will still remain. Life is unpredictable. You cannot control it. But how to respond to whatever happens is your own fiefdom. Never surrender your agency. Never say, I am a mere fallen leaf at the mercy of the winds. Never. Even in your darkest moment, you still have a choice. And sometimes that choice is to give up your life. And that is all right. You can confine my body. You cannot confine me. Sometimes the right response is this. You know how the saints have talked of it? They have said, look at the fish as a symbol. Not really the thing called fish, but as a symbol. They said, look at the fish and you will know what love means. The fish is in love with the sea. You have all the power to bring the fish out of the sea. But the fish has all the power to give up its life. You can forcefully bring the fish out of the sea, but you cannot forcefully make it live. That is the last declaration of its agency. It says, yes, you can pull me out of the water, but then I decide not to live. And one should always be ready for that. Because that is the last bondage, the body. If one is prepared to give up even the body for the sake of freedom, for the sake of truth, then you can never be controlled. Then you can never be enslaved. But that should be the last resort, please. Sometimes I speak and then I wonder about the consequences.
But you're saying that it is basically you're saying that it's all right
No,
in
I'm
some
not saying all
cases.
right. No.
No, like it is the last.
You remember what I told him? For the right cause, I can lay down my life this moment. For the right cause, if I'm needed to live 1,000 years, I should live.
But then why people see it as a sin or, consider it so wrongly to suicide? Like
Because
people
you
are
see,
like,
if you do not demonize it or criticize it or criminalize it, then life is such a hell for most people that you will have a huge wave of suicides. Because most people are somehow dragging their feet through life. They don't want to live, but they are somehow living. And if you start glorifying suicide, they'll find a way to end their misery. They'll say, fine, suicide is fine, so I'm now going to hang myself. That's the reason suicide must never be endorsed. And that's the reason it is actually criminalized. You'll be arrested if you attempt suicide.
Sir, if one day we are going to die, then what's the point of living?
Because you are still not dead. That's the point. Even death is something you imagine as a living person. Ask this question once you are dead. Can you? So that's the beauty of living. Even death is to the living one. The dead ones, so miserable they are, they can't even die anymore. The beauty of life is there is death still possible. Right? So choose the right death. That's the beauty of life. Okay? Yeah.
My name is Ajay. I have joined from Dubai. I run a company here. I'm the CEO of the company. So those things which are told or by the so-called Babajis or priest or any kind of spiritual definition which we see nowadays, which is quite famous, you will easily can verify that they are all false. They don't hold logic. They are mostly on emotions or beliefs or some kind of assumptions which goes through generations in the society or the tradition. So that's where this brings a very much clarity in terms of refinement or in terms of giving a very crystal clear view of that these are all false, right? And that's the whole purpose. To go to the truth, you have to remove the falseness.